Okay, so I'm not going to keep y'all very long before we go see the fun stuff. I will say, I know a lot of times at these things, people start kind of bowing out on the third day. There's kind of a magic sauce with LSIC. We go through all these different panels and discussions and networking time, but tomorrow is kind of where the magic happens. Hopefully everybody's been making really good contacts. I've heard some amazing dialogue and conversations and ideas just floating along the hallways. So tomorrow is really where you kind of start putting rubber to the road, and we don't just all go back to our day jobs and come back in 6 months. It's more about what can we do between now and then together. With that said, though, I wanted to just kind of wrap up this session in particular. You know that old cartoon where you have the little angel and devil on your shoulder? I don't really have the angel and devil, but for this planning, I'm just going to be real honest, I've struggled because one side of me says I want to look back and I want to take a moment and I want to celebrate what all has been done in the last 5 years by this community. It's huge. It's monumental. I don't even think we understand it yet because we're still in the middle of it, right? But when you think about the fact that it was just 5 years ago that we talked about what technologies we needed to go develop, and they were low TRL, guys. I mean, we'd been doing ISRU, for example, for a long time, but it was SBIRs, it was grants, it was fun stuff, but it was little stuff, a lot of little stuff. We are really across all these areas now getting the TRL up. That is the hidden message that doesn't get talked about enough. You don't have the miracle occurs here button. That miracle occurs here is through really hard work, through doing a lot of development on the ground, testing on the ground, which means you have to have the people, the skills, industry, academia, the facilities, all of that to do on the ground. Then you have to get there in the environment and really make sure it works. And I don't know how y'all feel, but I will say I feel like a lot of things that we still have to do on the moon, very fundamental, foundational things, are going to be validation, hopefully, of what I would consider to be a hypothesis of what we think the regolith is like, where the regolith is, where we're going to go, is there water here, is there not, how do we get power, how do we distribute it, all of these things, interoperability, all of these things that have been talked today. So while I look back and I say, oh my goodness, how amazing that we've got not only got the TRL up, but yesterday we started with a panel of all the teams that have been to the moon, and so that's just amazing. But now what I really want y'all to think about, this is the other side, is looking forward and what the next steps are. And I don't want to be melodramatic, but I will. And I'll say we are at a crossroads. I will go as far as to say we are at a crossroads. When you walk around and see the hardware here, that is but a small percentage of the hardware we have on the ground, that we have done the same thing with all of those areas and technologies that we've done with the ones that flew that you've been hearing a lot about. We've gotten the TRL up, they've been tested, and they need an infusion point. They need the next step. And so I encourage our community, whatever role you play, however we work together, I think one thing we need to deliberately talk about is, just like we have the technology valley of death that we're always trying to get over and bridge, which is the area I live in and love, I think we also have an infusion point or next step valley that we're facing, which is, we get the TRL to a certain point, and then we need to do the next thing with it. The end state when we jump over, like y'all were talking about, to the human exploration is not tomorrow, right? And not only is it, even if it was tomorrow, we still have so many fundamental foundational things that we need to prove out between now and then. So what do we call that? What is that phase, right? Where it's not a matter of, do we have the technology, do we have the hardware that we're ready to test? It's that we need those infusion points and those next steps. So I really want to encourage us to, as we're walking around and seeing these capabilities, how do they interact? How could they partner together? I talked yesterday about the kind of revised version of what we're looking at for the LIFT RFP. There's a lot that's went behind that already, in a framework of looking at what we could lay out and do serially, what would have to be done serially versus what could be done in parallel, and what makes sense in terms of how all these different capabilities come together. The government should do things that are not yet profitable for industry. We should provide kind of the stability for these technologies to have a chance to mature and develop, both for our nation and our skill sets, as well as for space exploration. So how do we put that plan together? And I do think that we should be we should be leading that. We should be developing that plan that we can all sing to the same sheet of music, provide those test facilities, provide the subject matter expertise, but also enable those infusion opportunities. So please think about that as you walk around and make connections. I have seen, probably what I would say I'm most proud of out of this community is we did not want to set this up as a place that you come, you have a great couple days, and then you go back to the day job, right? We wanted to really create an environment where you could come together and work together, make plans. And so what I have seen come out of this is we've had students that get internships or jobs. We've had small businesses that partner with large businesses. We've had non-traditional space businesses come. We need to do more of that too, and partner with traditional space, and on and on and on. So I think we need to keep broadening that community, but we also need to have kind of a common plan and objectives that we're working together. How we may get there may be different, and how we apply them may be different, but I think our objectives are the same. We want to get to the moon, build this infrastructure, and we have to do that first, and then have human exploration, and on to Mars. So with that, please go enjoy seeing all the amazing hardware, and especially the people that have developed all these things. Ask questions, and I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Thanks.